The Valerian ship *, distant horizon *, drifted silently through the darkness of space. Its sleek, silver hull reflected the light of distant stars as it approached the Epsilon Eridani system. Captain Lirinale stood on the command deck, his 4 eyes blinking in sequence as he studied the viewscreen. "Status report," he ordered, his voice a melodious trill that echoed in the quiet room. Science Officer Zethrak looked up from her console. Her blue skin shimmered under the soft lights. "Captain, I'm detecting unusual radio waves from the third planet. The pattern suggests artificial origin." Captain Lirinale tilted his head. "Artificial?" The charts showed no intelligent life in this system. "The signal contains mathematical sequences, Captain. Prime numbers, to be exact. This is not natural." Zethrak's tendrils quivered with excitement. "And there's more. The signal. It matches old human broadcasting patterns." A hush fell over the bridge. Humans were well known in the galaxy now, but they had only begun space exploration in the last 2 centuries. Finding human signals this far from Earth made no sense. "Prepare a landing party," Captain Lirinale decided. "We must investigate." The ship's shuttle cut through the planet's atmosphere, landing in a clearing surrounded by tall trees. The air was breathable, filled with the scent of vegetation and soil. The landing party, led by Zethrak, stepped out onto the ground with sensors ready. "Life signs detected," one crew member reported. "Many of them, 2 kilometers north." They walked through the forest, recording everything. The plants looked like nothing on their home world, but seemed healthy and abundant. Small creatures scurried away as they passed. "Look!" Zethrak pointed ahead. Through the trees, they could see buildings. Not the primitive structures they expected, but proper homes and facilities made of local materials and salvaged metal. As they approached the edge of the settlement, a group of figures emerged from the buildings. They stood upright on 2 legs, with 2 arms and a single head. "Humans." "Hello," called out a tall male at the front of the group. "Who are you?" The Valerians froze. The humans spoke the standard galactic language, but with an unusual accent. Zethrak stepped forward. "I am Science Officer Zethrak of the Valerian Exploratory Vessel *, Distant Horizon *. We detected your signal." The humans whispered among themselves. The man who had spoken first approached cautiously. "I'm Jack Foster, Governor of New Eden Colony. Are you aliens?" His voice contained both fear and wonder. "Yes," Zethrak replied simply. "We are not human. How did humans come to be on this planet? Our records show no settlement here." Jack Foster looked confused. New Eden was established 300 years ago during Earth's first wave of colonization. Our ancestors arrived on the starship * Perseverance *. We've been here ever since. The aliens exchanged shocked glances. 300 years ago, humans had barely reached their own moon. Interstellar travel had come much later. "That is not possible," Zethrak said. "Humans only achieved warp capability 150 years ago." Now it was the humans' turn to look surprised. An older woman stepped forward. "We lost contact with Earth when our communications array was damaged in a storm. That was generations ago." "Are you saying Earth lost all knowledge of us?" "Earth believes this colony was lost," Zethrak confirmed. "They presumed your ship destroyed in a warp drive malfunction." The revelation sent ripples of shock through the gathered colonists. Children clutched their parents' hands. Elderly colonists shook their heads in disbelief. "All this time," Jack Foster whispered, "we thought they abandoned us. We thought they chose not to find us." "And all this time," Zethrak replied, "they thought you were dead." Captain Lirinale's voice came through Zethrak's communicator. "Report, Science Officer." "Captain, we have found humans. A lost colony, established centuries ago, before official records show humans had warp capability. They've been surviving here alone, developing their own society. This changes everything we know about human history." As the aliens and humans stood face to face, the sun began to set on New Eden. The light painted the scene in gold, a new dawn for two civilizations that would never be the same again. The next morning, the alien visitors followed Jack Foster through the streets of New Eden. The colony was larger than they first thought. Nearly 5,000 people lived here, all descendants of the original 200 settlers who had arrived on the Perseverance *. "Our ancestors almost didn't survive the first winter," said John Harris, the colony's chief historian. He was an older man with a gray beard and kind eyes. "The ship was damaged during landing. We lost most of our technology and supplies." Zetharak recorded everything with her device. "Yet you built all this." John nodded. "Humans are good at adapting. We used what we had and learned from our mistakes." They reached a large building in the center of town. Inside, maps and old tools hung on the walls. A piece of twisted metal sat on a stand, a fragment of the original ship. "This is our history center," Jack explained. "We keep records of everything since landing day." The aliens examined the displays with interest. Captain Lirnal had joined them from the ship, his tall figure drawing curious stares from colonists. "These star charts," Captain Lirnal said, pointing to an old map. "They show a different warp path than humans use today." John Harris touched the faded paper gently. "Our navigators plotted this course. They were testing a new theory about faster space travel." "That explains much," Zetharak said. "Your ancestors discovered warp technology before official Earth history records it. They were pioneers." Outside, children ran past, stopping to stare at the aliens before adults shooed them away. Life in the colony continued despite the extraordinary visitors. Amanda Wright, a woman with dark hair and strong hands, approached the group. "Governor, the water filters need your approval." Jack introduced her to the aliens. "Amanda is our head engineer. She keeps everything working." Amanda nodded politely at the aliens. "Would you like to see our systems? They're not fancy, but they work." She led them to a river where large wheels turned slowly in the current. Pipes carried water to a series of tanks filled with layers of sand, charcoal, and special rocks. "We purify all our water this way," Amanda explained. "The local plants help too. Their roots clean the soil naturally." Captain Lirnal's 4 eyes blinked rapidly, a sign of surprise. "This is remarkable. Many worlds use advanced technology that breaks easily. Your simple systems might last forever." Amanda smiled. "We had to be clever with what we had." They continued to a large field where farmers tended unusual crops. The plants were earth varieties, but they had changed over time to match the local soil and climate. "Our food is different now," Jack said. "We kept some seeds from Earth, but we also use local plants that we discovered were safe to eat." Zetharak scanned a purple vegetable that looked like a carrot. "This has adapted to higher mineral content in the soil. Very efficient." In the distance, a group of hunters returned with strange animals that resembled deer but had 6 legs. "Your people have truly made this world your own," Captain Lirnal said. Back in the town center, a crowd had gathered. News of Earth's continued existence had spread, and colonists had questions. An older woman pushed forward. "Is Earth still there? Is it still blue?" "Yes," Zetharak answered gently. "Earth still exists. Humans have spread to many worlds now, but Earth remains their home." A young man asked, "Do they remember us at all?" Captain Lirnal nodded. "The loss of the Perseverance is taught in their history. It is remembered as a great tragedy that nearly ended human space exploration. They will be overjoyed to learn you survived." As evening approached, Jack Foster called a meeting in the colony's main hall. "Tomorrow we will establish communication with Earth. Our long isolation is over." The aliens watched as the colonists celebrated, singing old songs passed down through generations. Despite centuries apart, these humans had kept their spirit alive. "They are more resourceful than we knew," Captain Lirnal said quietly to Zetharak. "No wonder they have spread so far in the galaxy." Zetharak nodded. And this is just the beginning of what we will learn from them. 3 weeks passed. The news of New Eden's discovery spread across the galaxy. Earth sent a ship as fast as possible. The Stellar Envoy arrived carrying a team of diplomats, scientists, and historians. Ambassador Olivia Martinez tipped off the ship first. She wore a formal blue uniform with Earth's symbol on the shoulder. Her eyes were wide as she looked around at the colony. "Welcome to New Eden," Jack Foster said, extending his hand in greeting. Ambassador Martinez took his hand. "On behalf of Earth and all human colonies, we welcome you back to the human family." Behind her, more Earth humans exited the ship. They stared at the colonists with wonder. The colonists stared back. Though all human, they looked different in small ways. The New Eden people were slightly taller, their skin weathered by the local sun. At the same time, a larger Valyrian ship arrived. The voice of Harmony brought officials from the Valyrian Alliance. Among them was Dr. Kaveri, a xenoanthropologist who specialized in studying different cultures. "This is unprecedented," Dr. Kaveri said to Captain Lurnal, "a lost colony developing in isolation. So much to learn." The colony's main hall became the center for meetings. Tables were arranged in a circle so Earth humans, colony humans, and Valyrians could see each other equally. "We have many questions," Ambassador Martinez said. "How did your ship achieve warp travel so early? Our records show the technology wasn't ready." John Harris opened an old book. "According to our records, the Perseverance used experimental technology. The scientists believed official channels were moving too slowly. They built the ship in secret." The Earth historians looked shocked. "This changes our understanding of human history." Paul Bennett, a young colony scientist, sat next to Dr. Kaveri during the meetings. He was curious about alien science. "Your people study other species?" Paul asked. Dr. Kaveri's head tentacles moved gently. "Yes. Understanding different cultures helps build peace. Your colony is fascinating because you developed separately from your own species." Paul smiled. "Would you like to see our research center? It's small, but we've studied this planet for generations." Dr. Kaveri agreed eagerly. They walked to a building near the edge of town. Inside, samples of local plants and animals filled shelves. Maps showed weather patterns and animal migrations. "Most impressive," Dr. Kaveri said. "You've done all this with limited technology." Paul nodded. "We had to understand our new home to survive." Meanwhile, in the town square, colonists and Earth visitors tried to get to know each other. Children played together easily, but adults found it harder. "They look at us like we're strange," said Mary Jones, a colony teacher. "Like we're some lost tribe, not real humans." Her friend nodded. "And they keep asking if we want to leave New Eden. This is our home." Some colony members worried about the future. A group gathered at Jack Foster's house that evening. "What happens now?" asked William Clark, a colony farmer. "Will Earth take control? We've governed ourselves for 300 years." Jack sighed. "I've been thinking about that. We need to be clear about what we want." The next day, Jack addressed the meeting. "New Eden appreciates Earth's welcome, but we must discuss our status. We wish to be recognized as an independent human colony with our own government." Ambassador Martinez looked surprised. "You don't want to rejoin Earth's protection." "We want good relations with Earth," Jack explained. "But we've built our own society. We want to keep our independence." The Earth officials whispered among themselves. The Valyrians watched with interest. Dr. Kaveri spoke up. "In our experience, forcing unity often creates conflict. Perhaps both human groups could benefit from a partnership of equals." Ambassador Martinez nodded slowly. "We need time to consider this. It's an unusual situation." As the meeting ended, Paul found Dr. Kaveri. "What do you think will happen?" The alien turned all 4 eyes to him. "Your colony challenges how both humans and aliens understand adaptation. Whatever happens, New Eden has already changed everything. Word of New Eden spread quickly across the galaxy. Ships from different alien species began to appear in orbit around the planet. Some came out of curiosity, others with more specific interests. Derek Hudson, the head of colony security, watched the sky with growing concern. He had set up a simple tracking system using parts from the Valerian ship. The screen in his office showed 12 foreign vessels now in orbit. "Too many ships up there," Derek said to Jack Foster. "We need to be careful." Jack nodded. "The Valerians say most are just observers, but you're right to be cautious." The Galactic Council, a group of 24 species that manage relations between worlds, had called an emergency meeting. They invited Earth and New Eden to send representatives. "They want me to go," Jack said, looking uncomfortable. "I've never even left this planet." "You won't go alone," Ambassador Martinez assured him. "Earth will support New Eden's interests." In the end, they decided to send Lisa Coleman, the colony's youngest council member. She was smart and adaptable, with a good memory for details. "Lisa will represent us well," Jack told the colony. "She understands our values and our desire to remain independent." The Valerian ship Asterisk, voice of Harmony Asterisk, offered to transport Lisa to the council meeting. Dr. Kaveri would go too to present the scientific findings about New Eden. Before leaving, Lisa visited the colony's main square. People gathered to wish her well. "Don't let them push us around," Mary Jones called out. "Tell them who we are." Lisa smiled. "I'll make sure they understand us." Paul Bennett approached Lisa with a small wooden box. "Take this with you. It's soil from New Eden, to remind you of home." The journey to the Galactic Council station took 5 days. Lisa spent the time learning about the different species she would meet. Dr. Kaveri taught her about council customs and how to address the representatives. "Some species consider direct eye contact threatening," Dr. Kaveri explained. "Others are insulted if you don't look at them. It's complicated." Lisa sighed. On New Eden, things are simpler. When they arrived at the station, Lisa gasped. It was enormous, a spinning wheel in space with sections for each member species. Ships of all shapes and sizes docked along its outer ring. The council chamber was a large round room with raised seats arranged in circles. Each species had its own section. Lisa sat in the human area, next to Ambassador Martinez and other Earth officials. A tall, thin alien with silver skin called the meeting to order. "We welcome representatives from Earth and the newly discovered human colony of New Eden. This case is unprecedented." Lisa noticed how all eyes turned to her. Some aliens whispered to each other. Others used translation devices to understand the proceedings. "The human colony presents an interesting situation," continued the council leader. "Their isolation has led to unique development. Several member species have expressed interest in establishing relations with New Eden." Ambassador Martinez stood. "Earth acknowledges New Eden as a human colony with its own identity. We support their right to self-determination, while offering protection as their species' homeworld." Several aliens made sounds of disagreement. A reptilian representative spoke next. "New Eden developed separately from Earth influence. Their status should be independent from Earth oversight. My government wishes to offer New Eden direct trade agreements." More voices joined in. Some supported Earth's position. Others argued that New Eden should be studied before any decisions were made. A few suggested the colony's resources might be valuable and worth claiming. Lisa listened carefully. She realized that New Eden had suddenly become important in galactic politics. Their little colony, forgotten for centuries, was now at the center of attention. When it was her turn to speak, Lisa stood slowly. She felt the weight of her home on her shoulders. "New Eden has survived alone for 300 years, she began. "We didn't have advanced technology or outside help. We adapted and created our own way of life. We are human, but we are also unique. We want to learn about the galaxy, but we will decide our own future." The council chamber fell silent. Lisa's simple, direct words made an impression on the gathered aliens. For the first time, they heard the voice of New Eden itself. While Lisa Coleman represented New Eden at the Galactic Council, an important discovery was made back on the colony. Dr. Susan Taylor, the colony's head doctor, had been working with Valurian medical officers to study the health of New Eden's people. "Look at these brain scans," Dr. Taylor said, pointing to images on her screen. She was in her medical office with Paul Bennett and Dr. Kaveri, who had returned from the council meeting. The images showed colorful patterns of brain activity from different colonists. "What am I looking at?" Paul asked. "These patterns are unusual," Dr. Taylor explained. "They appear most strongly in people born on New Eden, especially those from third-generation families or later." Dr. Kaveri leaned closer to the screen, her 4 eyes blinking rapidly. "This neural pattern, it's similar to species with mild telepathic abilities." "Telepathic?" Paul looked shocked. "You mean mind-reading?" Dr. Taylor shook her head. "Not exactly. But some colonists report knowing what others will say before they speak, or feeling emotions from people nearby. We always thought they were just good at reading body language." Dr. Kaveri's tentacles waved with excitement. "This could explain why your colony survived against such difficult odds. Improved communication and empathy would help small groups work together better." Paul frowned. "But humans don't have telepathic abilities." "Not typically," Dr. Kaveri agreed. "But your ancestors lived for generations under unique conditions. The local plants contain compounds not found elsewhere. And this planet's radiation patterns are unusual." Dr. Taylor nodded. "Over many generations, subtle changes happened. These abilities are still developing. Most people don't even realize they have them." They decided to test their theory. In a large room, 20 colonists were paired up and seated back to back. One person in each pair was shown a simple image. Without speaking, they had to try to make their partner think of the same image. The results amazed everyone. 14 of the 20 pairs showed matching results far above what chance would allow. "This is remarkable," Dr. Kaveri said. "A human adaptation that no one expected." News of the discovery spread quickly through the colony. Some people were excited, others worried. "Are we still human?" one colonist asked during a community meeting. Jack Foster stood to address the crowd. "Of course we are. Humans have always adapted to their environments. This is just another example of our ability to survive." Meanwhile, data about the discovery was sent to the Galactic Council. The news caused a sensation. Many alien species were fascinated by the idea of humans developing such abilities naturally. Vila Moore, a scientist from a species known for advanced mental abilities, immediately requested permission to visit New Eden. "This could revolutionize our understanding of interspecies communication," Villamore told the council. "If humans can develop these traits naturally, we might find new ways for different species to understand each other." Not everyone was pleased. Some aliens feared that humans with enhanced mental abilities might become too powerful. Others saw an opportunity to study and perhaps exploit the colonists. When Lisa Coleman learned about the discovery, she immediately called Jack Foster via the communication link. "This changes things," she said. "Now some council members want to declare New Eden as special research zone. They're talking about sending teams of scientists to study our people." Jack's face looked grim on the screen. "We're not lab animals. What does Earth say about this?" "They're being protective, but I sense they're also interested in the abilities for themselves. Everyone suddenly wants a piece of New Eden." Jack sighed. "We need to be careful. Come home as soon as you can, Lisa. We need to prepare our people." As they spoke, Derek Hudson rushed into Jack's office. "Governor, we have a problem. Long-range scanners show a fleet of ships entering our system. They're not Valurian or Earth vessels." Jack's face hardened. "Whose are they?" "The Xelthari Dominion," Derek said. "And they're not answering our hails." The Xelthari ships formed a ring around New Eden, blocking all traffic to and from the planet. Their vessels were dark and angular, with sharp edges that seemed to absorb light rather than reflect it. They're establishing a quarantine, Captain Lirinal explained to Jack Foster. They stood in the colony's communications center, watching the scanner displays. The Seltheri believe they have the right to study any new discovery in this sector of space. Jack slammed his fist on the table. They have no right to trap us here. Derek Hudson was already organizing the colony's small defense force. They had few weapons, mostly hunting tools and equipment for managing wildlife. Against a space fleet, they were nearly helpless. We need to contact Earth, Jack said, and the Valurian Alliance. A message came through from the lead Seltheri ship. A tall figure appeared on the screen, with gray skin and eyes that shifted color like oil on water. This is Commander Zexol of the Seltheri Dominion Science Fleet. We claim research rights to the human genetic anomaly discovered on this world. No ships will be permitted to enter or leave until our studies are complete. How dare you? Jack stepped forward. We are not subjects for your research. We demand you leave our system immediately. Commander Zexol showed no emotion. Your demands are irrelevant. Prepare to receive our research teams. Any resistance will be met with appropriate measures. The screen went dark. Grace Rodriguez, leader of the colony militia, joined Jack and Derek. My people are ready, Governor. We won't let them take our people without a fight. Jack nodded. Set up defensive positions around the main settlement. But remember, we want to avoid violence if possible. Word of the blockade reached Earth quickly. Admiral Kevin Pierce, commander of Earth's nearby fleet, immediately ordered all available ships to New Eden. This is an attack on human sovereignty, Admiral Pierce told his officers as their ships prepared to jump to warp speed. The Seltheri have no authority to quarantine a human world. The Earth fleet arrived 3 days later, taking up positions opposite the Seltheri ships. Tension filled the space around New Eden as the two fleets faced each other. Admiral Pierce opened a channel to Commander Zexol. This is Admiral Kevin Pierce of the Earth Defense Force. You are illegally blockading the human colony. Remove your ships immediately, or we will take action to free our people. Commander Zexol replied coldly. The beings on this planet have developed abilities outside normal human parameters. They are a scientific anomaly that falls under Dominion research jurisdiction. Interference will be considered an act of war. On the planet below, the colonists watched the standoff with growing fear. Children were moved to underground shelters. Food and supplies were gathered in case the situation lasted a long time. The Valurian diplomatic ship Voice of Harmony arrived next, positioning itself between the two fleets. Captain Lirinal attempted to establish talks between Earth and the Seltheri. Both sides must stand down, he urged. This conflict helps no one. Lisa Coleman, who had rushed back from the Galactic Council, met with Jack Foster and the colony leaders. The council is divided, she reported. Some members support our independence. Others say that Seltheri have legitimate scientific interest. They're debating instead of helping. Jack looked out the window at the night sky, where the standoff continued. We can't rely on others to solve this. New Eden has always survived by finding our own solutions. That night, reports came in of Seltheri shuttles breaking through Earth's blockade. They were heading for remote areas of the planet. They're landing survey teams, Derek Hudson warned. Probably looking for places to establish research bases. Grace Rodriguez gathered her militia. We need to find them before they can set up their equipment. As the colonists prepared to defend their world, Jack Foster made a difficult decision. We need to show the galaxy we won't be treated this way, he told his council. If the Seltheri want to study us, let them see exactly what humans are capable of when backed into a corner. Ryan Sanders worked through the night in his small workshop at the edge of the colony. He was young, just 23, but already known for his creative solutions to technical problems. Around him, parts from old colony equipment mixed with pieces of Valurian technology that Dr. Kaveri had shared. It has to work, Ryan muttered to himself. It just has to. Paul Bennett entered the workshop carrying a tray of food. You need to eat, he said. You've been here for 18 hours straight. Ryan rubbed his tired eyes. No time. The Selthuri are setting up research stations in the eastern forests. Grace's militia found 3 so far. What exactly are you building? Paul asked, looking at the strange device on the workbench. A communication system, Ryan said, but not like any we've used before. He pointed to a helmet-like object connected to a larger console. This part amplifies the colony's natural telepathic abilities, and this part translates those signals into something all species can understand. Paul looked doubtful. You think our mild telepathic abilities can help us now? Ryan nodded firmly. Dr. Kaveri's scans showed our abilities are strongest when we're under stress or have a common purpose. Right now, we have both. In orbit above the planet, the standoff continued. The Earth fleet and Selthuri ships remained in position, weapons ready. Admiral Pierce received a message from Jack Foster. We need 48 hours, Jack said. Keep the main Selthuri fleet occupied, but don't start a war. Admiral Pierce frowned. What are you planning, Governor? Something unexpected, Jack replied. Something very human. Meanwhile, Lisa Coleman and Dr. Kaveri shuttled between ships, trying to build support. They visited representatives from various species who had come to observe the situation. That Selthuri claimed they're acting in the interest of science, Lisa told a group of alien diplomats. But forcing their way onto our planet and treating us like specimens is not ethical research. Dr. Kaveri added, many of your species have faced similar situations in your histories. Today it's New Eden. Tomorrow it could be your worlds. Back on the planet, Ryan's device was ready for testing. A group of 30 colonists gathered in the colony's main hall. Each wore a small headset connected to Ryan's central console. Focus on a single thought, Ryan instructed. Think about our right to choose our own future. The colonists closed their eyes. At first, nothing happened. Then, slowly, lights began to flicker on Ryan's machine. A soft humming filled the room. It's working, Ryan whispered. Your combined thoughts are creating a unified signal. Jack Foster, watching from the side, asked, can you broadcast this to the ships in orbit? Ryan nodded. Yes, but it will be stronger if we have more people connected. Within hours, hundreds of colonists volunteered. The message was simple but powerful. New Eden wanted peace, but demanded respect and self-determination. On the Selthuri command ship, Commander Zexol suddenly clutched his head. What is this? He demanded of his officers. Images filled his mind. Colonists working together, building homes, helping each other through hardships, all while feeling strong emotions of community and determination. Similar experiences happened on every ship in orbit. The clear, emotional message bypassed normal communication channels and went straight to the minds of all listening. Admiral Pierce experienced it too. This is remarkable, he said. I can feel what they're feeling. The Valyrian mediators recognized what was happening first. The colony is using their unique abilities, Captain Lirinal explained. They found a way to share their experiences directly, without words that can be misunderstood. The broadcast continued for hours. It showed the colony's history, their struggles, their achievements, and most importantly, their desire for peace and independence. In the Selthuri research stations on the planet, the scientists experienced the same connection. Many stopped their work, affected by the emotional impact of the shared consciousness. Commander Zexol called an emergency meeting with Earth representatives and Valyrian mediators. This development was unexpected, he admitted. The human adaptation is more significant than we realized. 2 months after the standoff at New Eden, representatives from across the galaxy gathered for a historic meeting. The Great Hall of the Galactic Council was filled to capacity. At the center stood a delegation from New Eden, led by Jack Foster. Today, we recognize New Eden as an independent member of the galactic community, announced the council leader. Their unique development and contributions to interspecies communication have earned them this right. Jack stepped forward to sign the agreement. Next to him, Lisa Coleman smiled proudly. Behind them stood Ryan Sanders, whose communication device had changed everything. The crisis had ended peacefully after the colonists' mental broadcast. The Seltheri, impressed by the unexpected display of human adaptation, had withdrawn their research ships. In exchange, New Eden agreed to share their discoveries through proper scientific channels, with full control over how studies were conducted. Earth had initially wanted closer ties, hoping to bring New Eden under their protection. But after seeing the colony's resilience and unique abilities, they accepted their independence. Regular trade routes were established, and many Earth scientists came to learn from their long-lost cousins. After the ceremony, Jack walked through the Council Station's observation deck with Captain Lurnau. "Did you ever imagine this outcome when you first discovered our signal?" Jack asked. Captain Lurnau's 4 eyes blinked thoughtfully. "No. We thought we had found a minor human outpost. Instead, we found a new understanding of what humanity is capable of." Across the galaxy, the story of New Eden changed how aliens view humans. Once seen as newcomers to space travel, humans were now recognized for their remarkable ability to adapt and evolve. Species that had dismissed humans as primitive now sought alliances with them. Back on New Eden, life continued with new energy. The colony welcomed visitors from many worlds, while maintaining their unique way of life. Paul Bennett worked closely with Dr. Kaveri to study the telepathic abilities that had developed naturally over generations. "The abilities are growing stronger in the children," Paul explained during a research meeting. "Each generation shows more pronounced patterns in their brain scans." Dr. Kaveri nodded. "And the communication system your engineer built has applications beyond emergency situations. It could help species with completely different languages understand each other on a deeper level." Ryan's device was being improved and adapted for use throughout the galaxy. Planets with long histories of conflict found new ways to share perspectives and build empathy. The simple need of a human colony to be understood had created a tool for peace. Ambassador Martinez visited from Earth regularly. During one visit, she brought a group of historians. "Earth's understanding of our own history has changed," she told Jack. "The secret warp technology your ancestors used is being studied. It might open new paths for human exploration." The colony itself became a center for interspecies cooperation. Its unique position, independent but connected to Earth, human but evolved with special abilities, made it an ideal meeting ground for different civilizations. On a warm spring day, Eric Powell and Nicole Davis welcomed their first child. The baby girl, born in the colony hospital, showed the strongest telepathic patterns ever recorded in a newborn. "What will you name her?" asked Dr. Susan Taylor as she completed the health scans. Nicole smiled at her husband. "Hope, because that's what she represents, hope for a new kind of future." As evening fell, Captain Lurnau stood on a hill overlooking the colony. In just a few months, so much had changed because of this one discovery. His exploration ship had found more than a lost human colony. It had found a new chapter in galactic history. "Captain," a young Valurian officer approached. "The shuttle is ready to return to the ship." Captain Lurnau took one last look at the lights of the colony below. "Sometimes the most important discoveries are not new planets or resources," he said quietly. "Sometimes they are new possibilities we never imagined." In the gentle light of New Eden's sunset, humans and aliens walked together down paths that would lead them all to an unexpected future, one made possible because a lost colony had finally been found.